Single dad dishwasher was about to be fired until the billionaire's secret will named him CEO. Marcus wiped the grease from his hands with a threadbare towel, watching through the kitchen's service window as another family celebrated a birthday in the dining room. The little girl couldn't have been more than 7, of the same age as his daughter Emma. She squealed with delight as her parents placed a towering chocolate cake before her, candles flickering like tiny stars. Marcus felt his chest tighten. When was the last time he'd been able to afford a real birthday cake for Emma? When was the last time he'd been home for dinner instead of working double shifts just to keep the lights on? The harsh clatter of dishes brought him back to reality. Chef Rodriguez was shouting again, his voice cutting through the dinner rush chaos like a rusty blade. Martinez, those plates aren't washing themselves. We've got a full house tonight, and I need you moving faster than molasses. Marcus nodded silently, plunging his hands back into the scalding water. At 34, he'd held more jobs than he cared to count: construction, retail, delivery driver, but washing dishes at Romano's was the most stable work he'd found since Emma's mother left 2 years ago. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid just enough to cover rent on their tiny one-bedroom apartment and keep Emma in school. The evening blur of plates, glasses, and silverware continued until nearly midnight. As Marcus hung up his apron, his phone buzzed with a text from Mrs. Chen, his elderly neighbor who watched Emma after school. "She's asleep. Don't wake her when you come in." She waited up as long as she could. The guilt hit him like a physical blow. Emma had probably hoped they could read together tonight, maybe work on that science project about planets that was due next week. Instead, she'd fallen asleep alone again, her father just another absent figure in her young life. Marcus walked the 6 blocks home through empty streets, his work shoes squeaking against the damp pavement. The apartment was dark except for the soft glow from Emma's nightlight to a $3 plastic moon he'd bought her at the dollar store. He peeked into their shared bedroom, where she lay curled up with her stuffed elephant, her homework spread across the covers. A drawing caught his eye, a stick figure family labeled Me and Daddy standing in front of a house with a white picket fence and a dog. At the bottom, in her careful 7-year-old handwriting, "Someday we'll live here." Marcus sat heavily on the couch that doubled as his bed, staring at the stack of bills on the coffee table. Rent notice. Overdue electric bill. Emma's school was asking for money for the fall field trip, just $20. But it might as well have been 20,000. He pulled out his wallet and counted the crumpled bills. $43 to last until Friday. The next morning brought devastating news. Mr. Romano, the restaurant's owner, pulled him aside after the breakfast shift. "Marcus, you're a good man, but business is slow. I'm sorry, but I have to let you go. Today's your last day." The words hit him like a sledgehammer. "Please, Mr. Romano, I need this job." "Emma, my daughter." The older man's eyes filled with sympathy, but his voice remained firm. "I wish I could keep you, son. Times are tough all around. Maybe in a few months." Marcus nodded numbly, untying his apron for what he thought would be the last time. How would he tell Emma? How would he explain that their already precarious life was about to get worse? As he gathered his things, Sarah, the head waitress, approached him. "Marcus, there's someone here to see you. Says it's important." In the dining room sat a woman in an expensive navy suit, her silver hair pulled back in a perfect chignon. She looked completely out of place in the modest family restaurant. When she saw Marcus, she stood and extended a manicured hand. "Mr. Martinez, I'm Victoria Ashford, attorney for the Blackwell estate. Could we speak privately?" Marcus glanced around the nearly empty restaurant. "This is fine. What's this about?" Victoria opened a leather briefcase and withdrew a thick document. "Did you know Harrison Blackwell?" The name meant nothing to Marcus. "I don't think so, Mom. He was quite wealthy. Made his fortune in technology and real estate. He passed away 3 weeks ago at the age of 87. She paused, studying Marcus's confused expression. "Before his death, Mr. Blackwell spent considerable time observing people. He was particularly interested in acts of kindness that went unnoticed. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "I'm sorry for your loss, but I don't understand what this has to do with me." Victoria smiled, the first warm expression she'd shown. 6 months ago, Mr. Blackwell was dining here when he witnessed something remarkable. An elderly homeless man had collapsed outside, and while others walked past, you left your shift to help him. You gave him your own lunch and helped him to the nearby clinic. You never asked for recognition or reward. The memory came flooding back. Old Joe, a Vietnam veteran who sometimes slept in the alley behind the restaurant. He'd been having chest pains that night. Marcus had simply done what felt right. "Mr. Blackwell was very moved by your compassion," Victoria continued. "He had been searching for someone to entrust with his life's work, as someone who demonstrated genuine kindness without expecting anything in return. After extensive observation and background checks, he made a remarkable decision." She slid the document across the table. "Mr. Martinez, Harrison Blackwell has named you as the primary beneficiary of his estate and the new CEO of Blackwell Industries, a company worth approximately $2.8 billion. Marcus stared at the papers as if they were written in a foreign language. "This has to be some kind of mistake. I wash dishes. I don't even have a college degree." Mr. Blackwell believed that leadership isn't about degrees or pedigree, it's about character. His will specifically states that the new CEO must be someone who shows compassion to those who can give nothing in return. Victoria's voice grew gentle. "He watched you for months, Mr. Martinez. He saw how you worked extra shifts to help your daughter, how you treated every person with dignity regardless of their station, how you never complained despite your struggles. But I don't know anything about running a company." That's why Mr. Blackwell arranged for a comprehensive transition team. "You'll have the best advisors and mentors money can buy. The will includes a provision for your housing, your daughter's education at the finest schools, and a trust fund to ensure her future." Marcus felt tears welling in his eyes. "Why me? There must be thousands of people more qualified." Victoria reached across the table and touched his hand. "Because, Mr. Martinez, you're exactly the kind of person Mr. Blackwell believed could change the world. Someone who understands struggle, who values people over profit, who leads with their heart." As the reality began to sink in, Marcus thought of Emma's drawing of the house with the white picket fence, the happy family. His hands trembled as he looked up at Victoria. "What happens now?" "Now, Mr. Martinez, you get to build the life your daughter drew in her picture. And more importantly, you get to help other people build theirs too." 6 months later, Marcus stood in the boardroom of Blackwell Industries, looking out at the city skyline. The transition hadn't been easier. There were nights when he questioned whether he deserved this opportunity, moments when the imposter syndrome nearly overwhelmed him. But with each passing day, he grew more confident in his unique approach to leadership. Under his guidance, Blackwell Industries had launched the Compassion Initiative, providing microloans to struggling families, funding job training programs, and building affordable housing. The company's profits had actually increased as employee satisfaction soared and public goodwill translated into consumer loyalty. Emma burst through the office door, her school uniform replaced by jeans and a bright yellow sweater. At 8, she was thriving in her new private school, but she still preferred spending afternoons at the office with her dad. "Daddy," Mrs. Peterson said, "you're giving her son a scholarship to college." Marcus knelt down to Emma's level, straightening her crooked ponytail. "Mrs. Peterson works very hard cleaning our offices. Her son is smart and deserves a chance, just like everyone else." Emma hugged him tightly. "I'm proud of you, Daddy. You're still the same person who helped Mr. Joe, aren't you?" Marcus smiled, remembering the homeless veteran who now worked in the company's mail room and lived in one of their transitional housing units. "I hope so, sweetheart. I really hope so." That evening, as they sat in their new home here complete with the white picket fence from Emma's drawing, Marcus reflected on Harrison Blackwell's final letter to him. The old billionaire had written, "True wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in the lives we touch and the kindness we spread. Use this gift not just to secure your future, but to light the way for others walking in darkness. As Emma practiced piano in the next room, her notes floating through the house like musical laughter, Marcus understood that the greatest transformation hadn't been in his bank account or job title. It was in the realization that one act of kindness, witnessed by a stranger in a restaurant, could ripple outward in ways he never imagined. The dishwasher had become a CEO, but more importantly, the caring father had become a beacon of hope for countless others still searching for their own chance at dignity and dreams.